Yeah, I'll tell you a bit about the band. They're from London, and they
Oh,
were, yes,
that's a
and they
surprise because that's a
formed
very
in.
it's an American indie rock sound to me anyway. Maybe I'm a fool.
Anyway, um,
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. Andy and John here for y'all's entertainment. We are going to be going over a song exactly that John is going to offer up to us. I'm going to go off and give it a listen, and we're going to come back and chop it up for a bit. John, what are you going to have me check out today, my friend?
so, are you familiar with a band called Yuck?
No, no, I'm not.
Bonsai. Okay, so I've got one of their songs. It's called Get Away. This is a live performance in a studio,
Okay.
Insound studio session.
Oh,
So
excellent.
go away, have a listen. You get to see what's going on, and I would love to hear what you have to think.
All right. Yeah, I'll scurry off, give it a listen, and I'll come back and give you just that. Had kind of this lo-fi sound to the beginning, but that guitar, what that one guitar was doing, is creating so much like this wave of like sound. I was like all that happening in its sound was like added like this dimension or space to an otherwise pretty rudimentary bit of music, but it was not so much about the notation or anything, but just about the effect and the sound garnered from the technique that he was using in playing the guitar. It sounded really, really cool. All right.
Break it down, then break it up again. Me and my guitar drowning down around. Maddie when the pain kicks in, Tony when the pain kicks in. I can't get away.
I love when rock bands do that, right? Where they the feedback is employed just as the transition is about to occur, so it builds this like tension, and then it explodes into the next part that at this juncture I've yet to hear. So it's always fun to see, especially the first time they like employ it in the song, to hear where it goes from the part you now have listened to for a couple repetitions. Then you hear the feedback and you're like, oh, where do they go from here? What is this next bit going to sound like? It's always fun. It's always like this tension before like the storm breaks out, and I really, really enjoy that. That was an excellent example of it used right there.
I can't get away. I can't get away. No, I can't get away. Panoramic view. That's one thing I won't do. No shadow views in the corner of my mind. Maddie when the pain kicks in.
and that's the guy with the hairline who's portraying him, the sort of lead guitarist, if you will, the one who's not singing. He is doing a lot of little things that aren't like, it's not blowing the doors off the building as far as like shredding on the guitar or anything, but it's all these excellent little accent touches that bring this, that just add decorations to the soundscape that they're building as a collective. But all of his little bits are like really zhuzhing up the place. And I love that he's employing these, like the little tap on the whammy bar, the ride down the strings, this like the feedback between the parts earlier that I mentioned. It's all the little things, and when you have enough of them, they start stacking up, and they really, really do make a difference in a song. And like I credit him for a lot of that's happening in this particular song. Anyway, I'm not really familiar with these guys' oeuvre or like their discography or anything. This is the only song I've heard by him, but I'm really appreciating what he's doing. The singer's got that classic, and forgive me, this is sort of like my like loser rock. And I love it, that kind of music, you know what I mean? From one loser to another. But no, it's got that 90s sound, I think Built to Spill's got a little bit of that going on. There are plenty of other bands that have that kind of sound. And yeah, I'm very familiar with it, and it's a bit nostalgic to hear it, although this looks far more contemporary than what I'm referencing, the sort of subgenre of rock and roll that I'm referencing. She's also playing some very easy but really super chunky bass that's definitely filling out the bottom, so that is good and adds to the song as well. Even though, again, it's not blowing off the doors of innovation, it's still good. I believe that's it. Yeah, that was a good song. I liked it. Musically, from like a chord progression standpoint or drumming, technique, even the bass, like nothing that is like super difficult, but all of it working together, and the added accent bits by the other guitarist, the non-singing guitarist, all that was great, and it all worked together to create a finished product that was really quite enjoyable and a little bit nostalgic for me. Like I mentioned before, I'd love to get an idea of when this song came out, because again, the visage of this performance connotes to somewhere in the last 10 years, maybe 15, but the sound is very early to mid 90s rock. So yeah, let's get back to John and have him fill in those gaps for us.
Here he is. The bad penny returneth.
I had nowhere else to go.
I sound like Richard Gere at the end of Officer and a Gentleman. I got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't believe I referenced that. Oh my god, a shame. Anyway.
So this one was interesting, right? Because it was a good listen and it was a fun watch. It felt both newish and nostalgic. There were several pieces of different 90s subgenres that I picked up on, and techniques that were made popular therein. And that is what probably stood out or resonated with me the most from this particular track and the video as a whole. And the first thing that stood out to my ears was this kind of like lo-fi adjacent beginning to the song. And I was like, okay, we got ourselves like a lo-fi song here, but it wasn't completely, but it had shades of it. There's also some minor technique work being employed by let's call him lead guitarist, the one whose hairline is most revolting against him, the one who was not singing. He was like adding in like accents and personality to the soundscape that the band was creating as a whole. And there is some great sustained like excuse me, like buzz and wailing in his guitar, and there was that added like, I don't know, some force to the song. It was almost like designing the design work for the song. Like, here's this, they've built the song, but here, let me add this, like these zhuzhing up of things inside to give it some added flair and flavor. And I really enjoyed that. I mean, there was this point at the beginning of the song, and the first bit of the song, where it's like he's creating just sound. Like it's this like, and it's like phasing in and out and getting louder, and it's just adding to the song. It's adding this like texture, and it's like, it's just, without it, the song would have been very vanilla or one notish, I think. And so
I wish he'd done more of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It could have done with a bit more.
I would agree with you completely. And which is why the song wasn't great in my estimation, but good. And it was good at what it was trying to do, and it did it successfully. But yeah, they could have had a lot more fun with those guitars at certain points. But what he was doing was nice. I did like that. It was actually kind of like his guitar was casting a larger shadow than the song did as a whole. Where like all of its oomph or mystique came from the sounds that he was creating, and there could have been more. You're absolutely right. The vocalist is only further adding to this 90s indie rock nostalgia with how he sings. It's like this, like that mid-90s loser or slacker indie rock sound in his voice, very Gen X sounding, like, you know, singer like of that time. And it reminded me a little bit of like Built to Spill, Dinosaur Jr., some of those other bands that came out around that time. And it was fun in that it was taking me to a place and to a headspace and to honestly a time in musical history. So that was really cool. The guitar also does this bit to build tension or anticipation between the song, or at a transition point in the song. So it's this tried and true method of creating this growing bit of feedback at the end of verses as they're about to kick into what, like, the pre-chorus chorus that comes next. And you know, it's not exclusive to the 90s, but it was very much made popular in 90s music, that sort of technique, using and then they jump into the next part of the song, and they did that here with the end of the verse going into the next part of the song, and I really enjoyed that. The bassist, while the bassist did her part in helping add the lower bit of depth to the song and richness to the song, and the drummer was you know, doing, with the awesome magnificent hair, was doing some pretty good beat work. They didn't stand out to me at all. They did plenty enough not to hinder or detract from the listening experience, though, which I suppose is all you can ask for when it seems like most of the weight was being carried by this guitarist who is doing these kind of like accent bits with the guitar. The group and the song didn't knock my socks off or anything, but they did an excellent job of recreating a sound from yesteryear and making me feel nostalgic. And that has to be worth something. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. And it was really, actually, the setting was really cool too. Like this little, very, I don't know, wood, like wood was everywhere. It was like, seemed very wood grainy, almost like a modern cabin. But you see that a lot in studios where they use like different like wood that comes out at different points to really create acoustics where sound can bounce off of. So it was really cool to see them chilling in that atmosphere and kind of just getting down and being in their element. I enjoyed that a lot too. I would be interested to hear more from these guys. Like this, I say didn't knock my socks off, but there is like mountains of hope for this kind of sound, especially when you're looking at a band that you can tell is like at most this was 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And as we've discussed before, 10 and 15 years ain't all that long anymore for us. So like this seems like definitely after this early to mid 90s indie rock sound. Yet there, and because obviously the Visage is 2000 something. But yet it's captured so well and so organically and doesn't sound, they sound like they could be contemporaries of some of the bands I named and not someone who took from them or were inspired by them years, 20, 30 years later. So I thought that was, they killed it with that aspect of their sound.
Yeah. This is a, I don't know, I kind of oscillate between really liking this song and sort of kind of liking it. It's a real sort of mixtape song, I would say. It's one of the ones you'd whack in. I'll tell you a bit about the band. They're from London, and they were
That's
and
a surprise because that's it's an American indie rock sound to me anyway. Maybe I'm a fool.
Anyway, formed in 2009 and went through to 2021. There's a few things about this video which I absolutely love, and I'll get into. So the cast of our players: Daniel Bloomberg, vocals, guitar. He was the one singing. Yeah. Max Bloom, lead guitar and vocals. Mariko Doi, bass, and Johnny Rogoff, drums. Great name, Johnny Rogoff. This is from their debut eponymous album, which was released in 2011. Apparently they got together, it was the two guitarists who formed the band and then got the other two in. And they actually recorded the album in the lead guitarist's parents' house. They had a decent house at the time. So the album got really positive reviews. It got a Metacritic average score of 81.
Wow.
The influences from 90s bands were on full display, and their sound has been likened to My Bloody Valentine, Dinosaur Jr., Pavement, and Sonic Youth. I would add Pixies into the mixer there for sure. And that's what probably attracted to me to this song, was the Pixies-esque nature of it to a certain extent. But the others, you can hear in there as well. So AllMusic wrote that the band's love of shoegaze and loud, quiet, this is about the whole album, loud, quiet 90s guitar rock is unadulterated, and it translates into the songs and the sound, making it a pure and easy to love album for all those who have ever been fans themselves. And Rolling Stone wrote, Yuck channeled their college rock Jones with skill and charm, balancing in the red guitar fuzz with melodic sweetness. There's not a lot to say about this band or whatever, just that the singer, Daniel Bloomberg, he left a year later. So this was recorded in this session, and it's actually around about this, it was October 2011 was when they done this. So God, 12 years ago, Jesus. He left the year afterwards, Daniel Bloomberg, to concentrate on his own releases, and he went on to become still a musician, but also an artist. He studied at the Royal College of Drawing, he works in film, and he does his composing as well. They carried on and brought out 2 more albums, Lo and Behold in 2013 and Stranger Things in 2016, both to mixed reviews. And in 2021, the band posted on their Facebook page that they had broken up and were no longer touring or putting out any new stuff. I caught a very brief 30-second clip from them playing on KEXP, and I did not recognize the guitarist. reading Wiki, it was the same guitarist, but I didn't recognize him. He looked totally different. The drummer looked totally different. And the bass player was the lead vocalist, and she'd grown her fringe and her hair down long, well over her eyes, and she was singing. It looked almost like a completely different band. But anyway, I don't even know what year that was. I just saw it as KEXP and whatever. So I'll just go through the lyrics. They're very, very simple. I do like the opening line, though. Break it down and then break it up again. Me and my guitar drowning down and down. Not even the pain kicks in. Tell me when the pain kicks in. Oh, I can't get away. I can't get away. Oh, I can't get away. No. Oh, I can't get away. Panoramic view. That's one thing I wouldn't do. No shouted abuse from the corner of my mind. Not even the pain kicks in. Tell me when the pain kicks in. Oh, I can't get away 4 times. And then it goes into that sort of bridgy bit. Summer Sun says, get out more. I need you. I want you. But I can't get this feeling off my mind. I want you. I need you. I can't get away 4 more times. And then Summer Sun says, get out more. Repeated twice. I want you. I need you. That's it. So just to say that the album version of this, and I really hesitated. I really prefer this version for a couple of reasons. So the album version, the vocals has a filter on it, which I call distant megaphone. So it's that megaphone, but 5 streets down, so it's soft and quiet. So it's really shitty vocals. I don't like. I mean, sometimes it's cool, but that one, it's just an effect which I do not. Pointless. And him just singing normally is much, much better. So that's why I'm glad I found this and gave it to you. I think there's great guitars on this. That is really, really nice and very hooky. Your man singing is totally doing a Black Francis rhythm guitar. And when it all drops down, your lass on the bass is totally stolen the Kim Deal bass, because it's one of those ones that's really simple. But really, you notice it and it's effective, but it's very simple. That's Kim Deal all over, Killer bass lines, but she learnt on the job, so they're not going to be. I do feel sorry for the drummer, because you saw him for about 3 seconds the whole video.
Well, really man, I loved that photo. Yeah. It was tight.
And knowing that the lead singer left the year after this, you could see the tension within the band. It's so interesting watching it now, because the singer he oscillates between being bored and being pouty that he seems to be forced to be in the studio. And there's absolutely no eye contact whatsoever, even though they're standing in a triangle. The bassist does look at Mr. Rhythm, but not at the lead. And the 2 guitarists don't even look at each other at all once. And there's obviously been some handbags beforehand. And it's like 2 kids who've been forced to say sorry to each other and they don't mean it. And they're still going to sit in the car together and fucking hate you.
No, I didn't know any of this, so now reflecting back on it, they are detached. Like they seem detached from each other's presence, but they're all creating music together. So that is odd and probably very awkward for the people who are working at the studio with them.
But the performance in terms musically is really good. It's still great, but it's almost like there's a bit where he's right at the start before he starts singing. He kind of looks like this. And you can imagine saying, but he started it, because he looks like a brat as well. Anyway, he does. I think this is fun. It's not a fantastic, great song. It's a really good song, though. And I think it gets a lot of love from a lot of people. And I think a lot of people actually really like this album. I think it's average, but, it's not terrible. It's just nothing that really gets me excited. This is the most catchy one, and I thought it's just a cool one to see some English nerds sort of focusing all these influences that we've talked about so much. That, we both love, and you said that slacker sort of thing is quite like Pavementy, in terms of
for sure.
Again, that sort of vocal delivery. And then, as you say, all the Dinosaur Jr. and Build a Spill and other bands as well. So it's cool, you know, a bit of 90s in the north.
It is,
well,
and they do
later
it
in the north.
really, really well. Like it's
Yeah.
not like these another thing that we do is like you'll bring up post-punk and then I'll bring a post-punk revival song. And you'll see where there are differences in these sounds, right?
Yeah.
Where one took things and then added their own.
Yeah.
This is very much cut from the exact cloth as that kind of slacker rock of the early 90s. And they don't really I don't know, you could view that as an insult, or you could view that as they're better at emulating their those who inspired them. But it sounds like it's all taken from their predecessors. It's they're writing it. These are original songs, but they're taking all the methodology of early 90s rock and implementing it in their creating of music, rather than taking a bit of this and then I'm like a la carting it and injecting it with a new sound and a new production style or whatever. It's just, we're just going to do that shit that they did then now. And that's how I felt about it. It was really good. It was an accurate depiction.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Precisely with the word methodology, it's that approach, isn't it? They've just taken that roadmap and used it with their own music and words. And I feel as well, it probably would have been at the time quite easy to replicate on stage, you know, rather than any more shenanigans and stuff. So what you hear then played live is what you'd hear on the CD or the record or whatever. You know, much easier. It's just straight, which a lot of the bands did back then. So that has that advantage as well, I guess. Because there's some stuff you hear and you know there's no fucking way that ever be able to replicate that on a stage, you know, certain tunes.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, sometimes that's the beauty of it, you know, but other times, no. Anyway, I shall wrap things up. I'll say thanks for listening to this.
Thanks for offering.
Little bit of fun here from Yuck. And folks out there, tell us, what do you think? Do you like this 90s tribute band? Do you like this track? And tell us what you think. If you dig the Yuck and you know this album, any other tunes which you'd recommend, drop some comments. Love to hear from you. As always, we value your opinions and your little snippets of goodness and knowledge. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and help support us build this channel. We really appreciate everybody who does lend their support by subscribing. So thank you in advance. That being said, thanks again so much for watching, and we'll see all of you when we jump in our DeLorean and go back to 1991 on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you guys.